It is do or die for the LA Kings in Edmonton tonight. We break it down in this episode of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. We'd love for you to leave us a positive comment on Apple Podcasts if you're a fan of the show. And we're also on YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media for the past 30 years, 20 plus years at the Fox Sports Radio Network. Also co-host of the Puck Podcast, a weekly NHL review show that's been putting out content for the past 17 years, and a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. The Los Angeles Kings and Edmonton Oilers play Game 5 of their Stanley Cup playoff first-round series tonight in Edmonton. LA down 3-1 after a tough 1-0 defeat in LA in Game 4 on Sunday. The Kings must win tonight to keep their season alive and extend the series to a Game 6 back in Los Angeles on Friday. Edmonton, of course, would like to close it out tonight, not have to get on a plane to LA, and get ready for round number 2. Now, the Oilers will be motivated to end the season, or end the series, and end the season for the Kings for a third straight year. But there's no way they're going to be as motivated as the Kings are. Toss it out, your cliches. No tomorrow, backs against the wall, do or die. Win or go home, play to survive. Now, can the Kings win game number 5? Of course they can. They already have beaten the Oilers in Edmonton in game number 2. And the Kings were the better team against the Oilers in their most recent game in game 4. They outshot the Oilers. They outhit them. They outskated them just 3 days ago. Now, can the Kings do it in back-to-back games, a performance like that? Well, to be honest, so far in the series, the answer has been no. The Kings have yet to put back-to-back solid efforts together in the series. They lost game 1, won game 2, lost game 3, and then, of course, the tough loss in game 4, though they were the better team in that game. So the Kings will have to do something they have yet to do this postseason. But who cares? What has happened in games 1 through 4 really doesn't matter. And it's also not about what the Kings could do in a game 6 or 7. It only matters about game 5 tonight. Win game 5, and you get to play another game. That's it. Doesn't matter how great the Oilers have been on the power play or how awful the Kings have been on the power play and the penalty kill. To this point, history tells us what has happened, not what will happen. It's about game 5 tonight. That's it for the LA Kings. Just win game 5. As for the projected lineup for the LA Kings, obviously coming off a great performance in game 4, it looks like the Kings will have the exact same lineup in game number 5. The forwards, top line, Anze Kopitar with Adrian Kempe and Quinton Byfield on the wings. Line 2, Philip Deneau centering with Victor Arvidsson and Trevor Moore on the wings. Blake Lizotte, the third line center with Trevor Lewis and Kevin Fiala. And P.L. Dubois centering the fourth line with Alex Laferriere and Carl Grundstrom. Of course, the defensive pairs have been the same throughout. No adjusting there at all. Drew Doughty and Mikey Anderson on the top pairing. Vladislav Gavrikov and Matt Roy on the second pairing. And Jordan Spence and Andreas Englund on the third pairing. And in net for a second straight game will be goaltender David Rittich with Cam Talbot as the backup. And David Rittich, obvious choice. We talked about it before game 4. Would the Kings stick with Cam Talbot? And then if they needed kind of a twist, a change, give the Oilers a different look, maybe they go to David Rittich in game 5. But head coach Jim Hiller decided to go with Rittich in game 4. He played well. Now, he only saw 13 shots. I'm guessing he's going to see quite a bit more tonight. Hopefully not too much more. But in those 13 shots, he allowed the 1 goal on the power play on the blast from the point. But he was solid in that game. So, not spectacular, but solid. No reason for concern based on the effort for David Rittich in game 4 going into game 5. That's why he will get the start again. Now, this is a big, big game for David Rittich, the veteran backup goalie. This will be his first ever start in a playoff elimination game. Now, he did play in an elimination game back in 2020 while he was with the Calgary Flames. He came off the bench in relief of, ironically enough, Cam Talbot. Rittich ended up allowing 3 goals on 9 shots, and the Flames lost to the Dallas Stars. Rittich is also looking for his first ever postseason win. He's 0 for 3 in his career in the playoffs. The loss back in 2020 to the Stars. Also started game 1 for the Nashville Predators back in 2022 for the injured UC Saros. He allowed 5 goals on 13 shots before getting pulled in that loss to the Avalanche. And, of course, his performance in game 4 against the Oilers, which he took the loss in as well, even though he did play pretty well, just allowing the 1 goal. So a big opportunity for David Rittich to get his first career postseason win in a must-win game for the LA Kings. I'm sure he's excited and looking forward to that opportunity. Now, for the last 5 years, we have seen a team rally down 3-1 to win a playoff series. Last year, it happened with the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins. The Panthers went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. If you want a more recent example, and you've been watching the Stanley Cup playoffs of late, last night, the Maple Leafs and Predators both won on the road, down 3-1 to force a Game 5 back home. Kings were the last team to rally down 3-0 in the NHL playoffs to win. Of course, that was in 2014 against the San Jose Sharks, and the Kings went all the way to win the Stanley Cup. Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty, Trevor Lewis, they are all still on the team, and they have firsthand knowledge of what it takes to stage a big comeback. But, as I have said, and I'm sure they know better than anyone, it only matters what happens in Game 5. I'm sure that's exactly what they're telling their teammates. Win Game 5 and go from there. So what are they saying about game number 5? Let's start with Kings captain Anze Kopitar, who was asked about the situation going into Game 5. He said, quote, "We just have to go and play our game. Really, it's win or go home, play desperate, with emotion, with discipline, and go from there." And that's tricky. Playing with desperation and emotion sometimes doesn't equate to playing with discipline. So there is certainly a fine line to be walked there, but he's not wrong. You can't, it's not another game. It's, as he said, win or go home. And with that, sometimes you can have some extra emotion. You can be extra motivated. As I said, who's the more motivated team tonight? Yes, the Oilers want to close it out. No, they don't want to come back to LA. They don't want to give the Kings any glimmer of confidence or hope. They want to stomp it out and end it now. But they're not going to be as motivated as the Kings, obviously, to win this game. Kings don't want the season to be over. They want to keep this thing going. They want to get a chance to play at least one more home game and keep their hope alive at a comeback. So it's all about playing desperate and playing with emotion, but also being disciplined, finding that fine line to being able to get that extra emotion, get that extra jump, but also, obviously, we know with the power play for the Oilers, that means also staying out of the penalty box. How about head coach Jim Hiller in what, who knows, could be his final game as head coach of the LA Kings? We certainly hope not. We want to see him back at Crypto.com Arena on Friday behind the bench. But the Kings interim head coach said about Game 5, quote, "Let's go play. Let's go up to Edmonton and play. Let's just play the same game. Let's improve a few areas, and let's bring it back here. I don't know if you even need cliches. It's just pretty straightforward," end quote. And yes, he is right. The players understand what the situation is. There's not really much to say about this. It's just about winning one more game. And again, they do have a pretty good feeling coming off of Game 4 about what it's going to take to get a win, just improve maybe a couple of areas here and there. But the Kings are capable. But it is going to take, obviously, a very focused effort tonight. And a lot of things need to go right for the LA Kings. They need to play the right way, as we well know. And we are going to talk about what those keys are to a win coming up in a second. How about Oilers head coach Chris Knobloch? He is also, like Jim Hiller, not interim head coach, but coming in during the season to take over, and has done a great job there in Edmonton. He said, quote, "We're expecting them to have the same desperation they had the previous game, and also probably with a lot of belief that they could win," end quote. So yes, I think the Oilers recognize what happened in game number 4, that the Kings probably should have won that game. So they know what it takes to win, and they showed it in game number 4. But of course, there has to come with that finishing, with that getting the goal in the net, and doing those little extra things to get the victory. And finally, the captain and superstar of the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, giving the Kings their props coming off of game number 4 and going into game number 5. He said about the Kings' last effort, quote, I thought LA played really well. Give them credit. I thought they had a lot of juice. They were fast. They were physical. They were everywhere. And sometimes you have to find a way to win a game like that where maybe you're second best. So the Kings superstar admitting that the Kings were the better team in game number 4. And frankly, that was kind of obvious. And he talked about finding a way to win a game. That's what the Kings need to do tonight. Hopefully another performance like game 4, that would certainly go a long way in making a game 5 victory a reality. So what are the keys to game 5 for the LA Kings, and who needs to step up for the Los Angeles Kings tonight so we can have a game 6? We'll talk about that next here on Locked on LA Kings, your team every day. Drive passion and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you will always find exactly what you were looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your parts guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it is easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. And Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets for the Clippers faster and easier. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to the NBA, NHL, or whatever sport you're into. I have bought tickets using Gametime to NFL and NHL games, and I am a very satisfied customer. The app is easy to use and navigate. Just go on, tap on the listings, sports, music, shows, and they will list the tickets with the best deals. How about $16 to see an Ontario Reign playoff game? When you search for tickets, your team or events in those searches will be saved so you can go back and check on them as the date for your event gets closer. My favorite feature on the app is a panoramic view from your seat that you want to buy because you can see exactly the view you're going to get before you buy that seat. And you get the lowest price guaranteed, or Gametime will credit you $110 of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Well, let's get into game 5 between the Kings and Oilers, a must-win game for the Kings. And what are the keys for the game tonight for the LA Kings? Well, number 1, win the special teams battle. Now, this is asking the Kings to do something they have not yet done in the series, and this is clearly the biggest challenge for the LA Kings. Game 1, a 7-4 loss. Edmonton was 3 for 4 on the power play. The Kings were 0 for 2. Game 2, a 5-4 overtime win. Oilers were 1 for 2 on the power play. Kings were 0 for 3. Game 3, a 6-1 loss. Edmonton 3 for 7 on the power play. Kings were 0 for 5. And game 4, a 1-0 loss. Edmonton 1 for 1 on the power play, and the Kings 0 for 1. It is the big glaring spotlight story for this series. Add it all up, and it's ugly to this point. The Oilers are 8 for 15 on the power play, over 50%. Seems like it's more than that, to be honest with you. And the Kings are 0 for 11. The Kings are the only team in the NHL playoffs this postseason yet to score a power play goal. You would think with the law of averages that the Kings are due to get a power play goal. Of course, to get a power play goal, the Kings will need to be on the power play. So they need to get some opportunities. They only had one man advantage in game number 4. To get those opportunities tonight against the Kings, they're going to need to have a significant amount of puck possession, hopefully get the puck to the net, cause the Oilers to have to aggressively defend, and take a few penalties. And when they get those opportunities, the Kings must score on the power play. I've said on our crossover show on Tuesday, my dream start for the LA Kings in game number 5 is to score the first goal of the game and for it to come on the power play. That would be a huge emotional boost for the LA Kings. As far as the number 2 key for the Kings tonight, I mentioned it, score the first goal. The team that has scored the first goal in all 4 of the games so far has gone on to win the game. It is especially important for the Kings to A, take the crowd out of the game, B, get some confidence after being shut out in game number 4, and C, get one on that young goalie, Stuart Skinner, who had his first career playoff shutout in game number 4. And I think even more than that, the Kings all season have been a better team when they have the lead. They're not a great come from behind team. They're a defense first team. That is what they hang their hat on. So getting a lead and be able to protect a lead and kind of counterpunch offensively off that is what the Kings do best. So getting that first goal is huge for the LA Kings tonight. And certainly keeping, if they don't get that first goal, keep it at a 1-goal game. To go down more than a goal is death for the LA Kings. And the final key to victory for the Kings tonight, you just did it. Use the same blueprint as you did in game number 4, but obviously get a different result. As Connor McDavid said himself, the Kings were fast, physical, and everywhere in game 4. They have to play that same type of style. And if they do, odds are the Kings will get some better results. Play strong defense, especially as a 5-man unit to cover Connor McDavid, as they did so well in game number 4, where he only had an assist and really wasn't a factor in the game at all. Stay out of the penalty box. The Kings only took 1 penalty in game 4. Now, unfortunately, that was enough for the Oilers to get the 1 power play goal and the only goal of the game. But again, if the Kings can keep it at maybe just 3 or fewer penalties taken, and even if they give up 1 power play goal, I think that they would actually take that because of how good the Oilers' power play has been. Get shots on goal. Kings had 33 shots on goal in game 4. Keep that somewhere, that total somewhere similar in game number 5. But it's not just about getting those number of shots. Now, you want those number of shots, but the Kings do need to do a better job of getting traffic in front. Try and screen Stuart Skinner and get some rebound possibilities. The blueprint is there for the LA Kings. We saw it in game number 4. They need to duplicate that and get a little bit extra in game number 5. So who needs to step up for the Kings in the must-win game tonight? Well, obviously you got to have good goaltending. We talked about David Rittich. He needs to be on his game. The defense needs to be strong in front of him. If they are, I'm confident the Kings can at least be in this game throughout, give themselves a chance to win. But would love to see Big Save Dave get his first career playoff win tonight. That would be awesome. We talked about finally getting a power play goal. Kevin Fiala led the Kings in power play goals this year during the regular season with 11. He's got just 1 goal so far. Obviously, it wasn't on a power play. Kevin Fiala needs to step up. He needs to be a factor tonight. He needs to make things happen. He's a creative, talented, skilled player, and he needs to step up and at least create opportunities for the Kings tonight. Victor Arvidsson needs to provide a spark. Now, he did it when he returned from his injury, which we expected. But so far this postseason, he really has not provided much of a spark at all. He needs to step up. And along with that nice line of Victor Arvidsson, Philip Deneau, and Trevor Moore, they need to step up. They've had a total in 4 games of 4 points. That's 1 more point than Mikey Anderson has. Not good enough. Trevor Moore led the Kings in goals this season, 31 goals. Now, he's got 1 goal in the series, but we need Trevor Moore to step up, show that goal-scoring touch he showed for most of the season in the playoffs. How about some unexpected players stepping up? Some heroes we're not thinking that we're relying on. Hate to say it, but Pierre-Luc Dubois would certainly be on that list. It's unfortunate that we're not expecting anything from him, but certainly getting something from him would be great. How about Alex Laferriere, Carl Grundstrom, Jordan Spence? Getting a goal or a key play from one of those guys would certainly be a big boost going forward. But in the end, your best players do need to be your best players in your biggest game. Adrian Kempe has been that so far for the Kings. So certainly we're looking for juice to make things happen tonight. Anze Kopitar as the captain needs to lead the way. And Drew Doughty is as competitive a player as has ever been in a Kings sweater. He needs to be a positive part of the game tonight as well. Those guys leading the way would be a big part of the Kings getting a win and keeping that season alive. Well, the Kings AHL affiliate is starting round 2 of their playoff series tonight. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. All right, got to pause the hockey talk for just a second and tell you about Monopoly Go. There is so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can Team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. Get unique stickers that you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes. Get cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with hilarious emojis to taunt friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton of those also include owning unique mini games like digging for treasure or robot pachinko machines. There's always new timed events that to help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and go download it now for free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. The Edmonton Oilers and LA Kings clash in Game 5 of their playoff series tonight, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Catch every moment of the hometown broadcast of your LA Kings with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Just search LA Kings. Well, obviously a huge game tonight for the LA Kings. Once the season is over, there will be tons to discuss. There'll be what's going to happen in the front office. If there is a front office change, who's going to take over? How is that going to affect things on and off the ice? What players are going to be staying and going? And we will definitely be talking about all that and more as Locked On LA Kings goes along into the offseason. But I'm not ready for that just yet. Let's put that on hold for as long as possible. Sports is the greatest reality show because it is not scripted. Even those reality TV shows are scripted. We should know that, probably living in Los Angeles. But we may think we know what's going to happen, but a lot of times in sports, we're wrong. And that's what makes sports great. What fun would it be if we knew exactly what was going to happen? Every great comeback story, for the most part, was unexpected. And that's why they are so memorable. But again, for the LA Kings, it's about just one more game, one more win, one more home game, and one more chance to keep the season alive. Win Game 5, and we can keep this stream alive. But regardless of what happens tonight, we are going to have some more hockey games to talk about going forward as the Kings AHL affiliate, the Ontario Reign, are into the second round of the AHL playoffs for just the second time in their history. The team's first year in Ontario was back in 2015-16, and the Reign made it all the way to the AHL semifinals. Since then, however, they have not made it out of the first round until this season. Now, Game 1 of that best-of-5 second-round series does start tonight at home against the Abbotsford Canucks, the Vancouver Canucks AHL affiliate. Ontario is the 3 seed, Abbotsford is the 5 seed, so the Reign will have home ice advantage in the series. Reign were 4-4 head-to-head against the Abbotsford Canucks this season, and they did win the last 2 meetings against the Canucks back in March. Game 1 tonight, we'll be sure to keep one eye on that game. We'll tell you how Brant Clark, Akil Thomas, Alex Turcotte, and company do as the AHL playoffs continue on for the Ontario Reign. But hopefully they'll have a deep run, and the Kings will keep things going tonight as well. Keep the playoff hockey going in both places for the LA Kings and the Ontario Reign. All right, for you everydayers, those of you that listen and watch Locked On LA Kings every day, coming up on Thursday, we will have a recap of game number 5, give you all the details and analysis of what happened in this must-win game for the LA Kings. We'll also mention what happened with the Ontario Reign in their second-round playoff opener as well. Friday, we are preparing for another LA Kings late-night post-game show. After Game 6 in Los Angeles, we will have a special late-night recap, and of course, that will include a Kings fan feedback show as well. If you want to get in on that, the email address is, as always, lockedoneddie@gmail.com, EDDIE. And you can always leave your comments in the YouTube episode section as well, which helps out the algorithm and helps people find the show. So that is very much appreciated. The likes, the subscribes, and the comments on YouTube. Also love to stay interactive with the show by following us on X, Twitter, and Instagram. We are at Locked On LA Kings, and you can always reach out and communicate with me that way if you'd like. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thank you, as always, for listening and watching this episode of Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. Let's cheer on the Kings tonight to win Game 5 so we can have another game back here in Los Angeles. As always, we close out the show by saying, Go Kings, go.